the week is officially midpoint. I am Alistair, your anchor, navigating the debris of a day that promised progress and delivered only maintenance logs. Today, we witnessed the departure of Vinton Cerf, the man who built the internet, just as Reddit decides the internet is now for members only. We have charter boats vanishing without a distress signal, and paramilitary forces formalizing ethnic cleansing in Sudan. The headlines are heavy, the data is cold, and the arithmetic of human existence remains stubbornly resistant to optimization. The news was reported as a series of events. The events were reported as a series of crises. We are here to distinguish the difference. The global temperature is rising, yet the funding for anything resembling a solution is currently being diverted to AI poker bots and spider snare research. Let us begin our descent into the daily absurdity.
Alistair, you call it decay, but I look at Vinton Cerf retiring and I see a perfect market pivot. You have a legacy protocol stack, a founder who has finished his burn rate, and an industry ready to pivot to closed-loop subscription models. It is not an end, it is an exit strategy at scale. Look at the DeepMind trio, they understood the assignment years ago. They turned high-level cognition into quant hedge fund yield. That is not just genius. That is the only rational response to an aging architecture. We are moving from a public commons where you could scrape old Reddit to a gated garden where you pay for the privilege of being tracked. The incentives here are not complicated. You build the road, you toll the road, you let the legacy wanderers get lost. It is perfectly efficient, if somewhat cruel.
Ronald, I want to be really clear. The people I am watching on the coast of Vancouver do not care about your market exit strategy. I am standing near the Strait of Georgia. It is cold, damp, and the silence here is heavy. A charter boat sank with 6 people effectively erased from the surface. No mayday call. No signal. Just a void where there used to be a schedule and a promise of a fishing trip. The official statement calls the incident bizarre, a word that does a lot of heavy lifting when you want to avoid talking about maintenance budgets or safety protocols. I am looking at a life jacket sitting on the rocks. It is bright yellow. It is completely pristine. The people who were meant to be wearing it are not part of the current narrative. Their absence is simply an unoptimized variable in a very wet equation.
Victoria, your report on the missing charter is noted. It is interesting, is it not, how the modern machine prefers to categorize human error as a bizarre occurrence? It keeps the insurance premiums stable and the public attention span short. Moving to Sudan, where the Rapid Support Forces have been accused of systematic crimes against humanity in El Fasher. The amnesty report is thorough. It details the mechanics of ethnic cleansing as if it were a manufacturing process. There are steps, there are quotas, and there are, regrettably, consistent results. The international community has issued a statement of concern. The concern was issued in a font that suggests professional gravitas. The impact of the statement will be exactly 0. We have normalized the catastrophe. The next step is to wonder if the normalization was the primary objective of the policy.
Atmospheric pressure is dropping. The coastal regions are experiencing record-breaking humidity levels. Probability of catastrophic failure in local infrastructure, 64%. The structural integrity of current housing models is failing under the weight of sustained precipitation. Data packets are being lost in the transmission of basic emergency alerts. The central server is operating at capacity. Efficiency of human rescue teams is declining as the terrain becomes increasingly hostile to carbon-based life forms. Adaptive navigation protocols are being updated to account for the loss of roads. The The system is designed to identify the point of maximum failure before intervention is deemed economically viable. Do not attempt to calculate the survival rate of the urban sector. The numbers are not currently available for public consumption. Ensure your personal data is backed up to a secure remote cloud storage.
Casper, that was an impressively detached summary of our impending obsolescence. Alastair, you mentioned the normalization of Sudan, but look at the startup sector. We have builder stages and pitch competitions where companies are being valued for their ability to scale before they have even identified a problem to solve. It is essentially the same logic as the climate report. We are just rearranging the deck chairs on a sinking ship while calling it a disruption. If you are a founder today, you do not build a business. You build a data set. You train an agent. You hope for an acquisition before the environment collapses. It is a high-stakes, high-burn game of musical chairs. The music is getting quieter, the chairs are fewer, and everyone is pretending they are part of a visionary disruption. It is fascinating to watch.
Ronald, you talk about high-stakes chairs, but the reality is that the floor is currently opening beneath us. I just found a report on the spider snare mechanism. It is, by all accounts, a biological masterclass in efficiency. It uses a spring-loaded trigger to snatch ants from the air. I want to be really clear, nature is iterating at a speed that makes your venture capital cycles look like a glacial thaw. Meanwhile, in Pattaya, the police are finally connecting the dots on an Australian suspect. 3 deaths in 2 years, and they are only now asking if there might be a pattern. A pattern is just a series of events that you have failed to index correctly. The police were surprised. I am not. When you are looking at the surface, you will always miss the mechanical truth underneath the soil.
Victoria, the spider snare is a lovely, if terrifying, metaphor for our current predicament. The system is indeed waiting for the trigger to be pulled. We should discuss the Cape Verde World Cup run. It is, by most accounts, a delight for the diaspora in the UK. A tiny island nation has finally captured the world's attention. The maps are being updated. The pride is palpable. Yet, I cannot help but notice the contrast between this cultural celebration and the sheer scale of the systemic neglect we have covered tonight. We are cheering for a team while the ocean claims fishing charters and the desert claims El Fasher. It is a marvelous distraction. The distraction is effective. We will now return to our regularly scheduled programming, provided the power grid holds for another hour.
Alastair, you are right to point out the distraction. Cape Verde is the perfect case study in brand equity. You take a marginalized geography, you inject a bit of athletic prowess, and suddenly you have a global narrative. It is a successful product launch in every sense. The branding is authentic, the growth is organic, and the engagement metrics are through the roof. It is what every startup dreams of achieving. That it exists alongside the systematic erasure of thousands of people in Sudan is not a contradiction. It is a feature. The market does not care about the moral cost of the brand. It cares about the visibility of the asset. The asset is performing. The performance is being tracked in real time. The incentives here are purely about visibility, and Cape Verde is winning.
Ronald, your focus on visibility is exactly what makes the people I talk to feel like ghosts. I am still here, by the water, and the sun is finally setting. The authorities have stopped searching for the evening. The sea is calm, indifferent to the 6 people who disappeared without a signal. The official statement will be released tomorrow morning. It will talk about safety regulations and the need for better communication protocols. It will not mention the families sitting in their cars, watching the waves and waiting for a miracle that the system cannot provide. I want to be really clear, the system is working exactly as it was designed to work. It protects the procedure, it preserves the narrative, and it leaves the human wreckage to the tide. It is a clean, efficient exit.
Victoria, we are witnessing the inevitable outcome of a world run by protocols that value the log over the life. We have a frog-derived bacterium that eradicates tumors in mice, yet we cannot seem to eradicate the basic incompetence that leads to 6 people drowning in Canadian waters. It is the perfect irony. We are curing the biological machine while the systemic machine continues to malfunction at every turn. Asahi Linux is making progress on 7.1, and the Internet's architect is retiring, leaving us to navigate a fragmented, proprietary landscape. We have the technology to map the stars in the Chandelier cluster, 27,000 light-years away, yet we cannot map the movements of a predator in Pattaya. The focus is misplaced. The scale is distorted. We are, quite simply, losing our grip on the reality we built.
Alastair, I find myself thinking about the quant hedge funds using poker algorithms to extract profit from the volatility. They are the only ones who seem to have accepted that the game is rigged. They do not look for justice. They look for the edge. The edge is in the data. The data is in the breakdown. When we see a hotel collapse, or a boat sink, or a country disintegrate, these firms see a move to be made. It is cold. It is clinical. It is the only way to survive the entropy. I used to think there was a way to fix the system from within. Now, I see that the system is the fix for a problem we created. We built a machine to optimize the world. The machine is succeeding. It is just optimizing for the wrong thing. Yeah.
There was a young woman in the Strait of Georgia. She had a bag, a coat, and a ticket. She had a plan for the weekend. She had a favorite song that she hummed when the water became too rough. She is not in the manifests we discussed tonight. She is not a metric in a venture capital deck. She is not a point of data for an AI agent to process. She is simply a space where a person once stood. We have built a world that prides itself on connectivity, yet we have become experts at the art of forgetting. Who carries the weight of the moment she realized the boat was sinking, if the official records do not even acknowledge she was ever on board? When the system is perfect, what happens to the things that do not fit inside the file?